But the Denver Nuggets, Harry.
Well, that Houston, Utah is in play.
Yeah, absolutely,
spot, yeah.
because Utah's right up there. Actually, that game is over now. San Antonio has defeated the Utah Jazz.
Oh,
Harry.
okay.
So that's good news
for the Rockets.
For the Rockets, and it's good news for the Denver Nuggets. And the man who's on the Denver Nugget broadcast team, one of my favorite guys in NBA history, the great Scott Hastings. Scott, how are you, man?
Fellas, Tony, how you doing? I love your Corona lockup beard. It looks awful nice.
Thank you very much. I actually trim it every couple of weeks, but I'm going to let it go full Santa Claus now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I want to look like one of the guys from ZZ Top. How long will it take me to get that baby all the way down there, Scott?
That would take a couple years.
Listen, I had one going, and then they started this thing back up, and I had to get my pretty TV face. But I had one down about 2 or 3 inches below the chin. I was going Duck Dynasty. I was going full Duck Dynasty with gray.
Exactly right,
man.
Now, you're in Denver, so you're not in the bubble, so you do the broadcast from Denver for the Nuggets. And the Nuggets, I mean, people in Denver got to be excited about this team. I mean, they're not a surprise. I mean, they were good all year. Mm-hmm. And they're one of those teams that nobody pays attention to, man.
They really don't. Listen, the two best centers, I think, and this is no disrespect to Cat in Minnesota or Gobert and what he does in Utah, but the two best centers are in Philadelphia and Colorado, and Embiid and Nikola Jokic. And as long as you got a guy that, I mean, he was first team All-NBA last year, you're going to be pretty good. And then you throw in younger guys, like Jamal Murray and all these other people that start playing. They were really solid. Well, now in the bubble, they played yesterday. Tony had a 1-point lead with 5 minutes to go in Portland. Had 4 of their 5 starters, didn't even play in the game. They got this young kid that they stole in the draft 2 years ago, and you had to rehab from some back surgeries.
Michael Porter Jr.
Yep.
Just blowing up.
Yeah.
And looks like a future star in this league. So, the future's bright, whether it's this year or not. Can they get healthy in time when this thing starts up in a week or so? We'll see.
You could make a case that Michael Porter Jr. and T.J. Warren are the best players in the bubble right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
As far as, point production and so forth. But I saw Greg Popovich made a reference about Jokic. He said he's the reincarnation of Larry Bird. Do you agree with that?
Well, and I don't have all the stats in front of me. I think he's leading the bubble in assists. He's had double digits in assists, I think. In every game, he played 24 minutes yesterday, only took 6 shots, and he had 13 assists. Didn't really play in the second half. He's the best passing big I've ever seen. I went to Vlade Divac one time when he was in Denver, and I thought early in his career he reminded me of Vlade a little bit. You guys remember Vlade when he was rolling.
I used to buy the cigarettes for him in L.A. when he would roll them up in his sleeves and start to play. Yeah, the whole pack of Camels he would have there right on before they went to the no sleeves. You know what I mean?
And then go drop 18, 10, and 9 on people.
Yes.
Well, Vlade told me 2 years ago that he thought Joker was already better than he ever was. So that's pretty high praise. He's a special guy, Tony. He's kind of the superstars you and I kind of grew up with that. They were humble, and it was about the team winning and the accomplishments. They just were what they were. He's probably the most legit guy when it comes to that. He doesn't care whether you like him or don't like him, make him an all-star, not make him all-star. He just wants to win, so that's good. And then and listen, he's an old man at 24, so that's a good news for the Denver Nuggets, and also good that listen. He jumps like you and I do now at our age, and you're never going to have to worry about, a bunch of problems. Like, I think Zion's going to fight knees and issues his whole career because he's a high flyer that carries a lot of weight. Joker's not a high flyer. He's probably not going to have to worry about that stuff.
We're talking with the great Scott Hastings, part of the Denver Nugget broadcast team. So how weird is it you sitting in Denver in the arena, and then the games are down there in Orlando? Is it obviously now you've had a couple of weeks to work on it? Is it as easy or harder than you thought it would be?
Well, I mean, it's weird. We got to set up kind of like your television behind you. I got a big 48-inch screen TV in front of me with 4 different camera angles. You got to make sure you're watching the one that's actually the live programming, otherwise the other one's about 3 seconds ahead. I did it last night. I'm watching it, and I went, whoa. in about 1001, 1002, you hear Marlon go, "Whoa, what a shot by MPJ." I guess, Monkey Boy has to be contained once in a while, and I was a little bit too far ahead. But it is what it is. You lose the atmosphere. You lose, our table at home or you on the road is usually right by one of the benches, so you can hear things. You know when guys are upset or not upset, what coaches are saying. So you miss some of that right there. But, it is what it is, and we're all adjusted to what these new times they've thrown upon us.
Now, the one thing that's interesting to all of us is what's going on at the bottom of the West, because that's really the biggest fight going on now for that 8 seed, and Memphis has really not played well. And then you look at teams like, the Sacramento Kings show some signs that they didn't win. But Memphis, to me, and the Pelicans are the two teams that everybody wanted to see those two teams come down to it, and now it doesn't look like it doesn't. Now, Zion's not going to play tonight against Washington. Do they really want this, do you think? Because I know the NBA wants to see Zion in there facing the Lakers in the first round.
Well, what gave you any idea of that? Had them have the easiest schedule?
Yeah, I was just guessing that the NBA and all the broadcast partners want to see.
Are you saying they're colluding, Tony?
No, there's no fraud. They still have to play. The thing about this, there's no frozen envelope that you pull out and say the Pelicans are now the 8 seed in the West. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, I'll say this: there's teams. I mean, Phoenix has been fun to watch, and good on them as they get ready to start for next year. I don't think they'll have a shot. And Portland's probably the most dangerous teams of the teams that have a chance, because you've got legitimate probably future Hall of Famer and Damian Lillard coming. Nurk's finally healthy. If the pandemic doesn't hit, Nurk doesn't play this year. That changes the dynamic of the team. Collins is back as well. And between them, Memphis, New Orleans, Sacramento, whoever you want to put in there, Portland's the only team legitimately has a chance to actually bother, I think, the Lakers in a first-round playoff.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Memphis is not going to play tonight. Memphis is not going to play Zion. I'm sorry, Portland, as you mentioned, only a half game back. And you look at San Antonio, give them an E for effort. The Phoenix Suns are a nice team, and they got some good players. Sacramento's tried, but this is pretty much over. And the Pelicans are, I think the Pelicans, they're, 2.5 games out now, right?
Yeah.
So do the Pelicans have a shot if they're resting a guy tonight when they need a win desperately?
It would not seem like it, because Portland, like I said, I think is the best of all those teams in there. And the rule now, the 8th and 9th team, if they're within 4 games and it looks like it's going to be, then you have that little play-in series between those two. I think New Orleans lost a chance, and I think Memphis, something bad happened to them, because they deserved it. They had a great season going until this thing hit, and I mean, and their future should be bright. So who knows?
What's your take on Bowles' future as an NBA player? Got 25 minutes last night, 9 points and 5 rebounds.
He's already better than his dad. And he's a little bit like MPJ. It's really neat watching both those guys, because they both weigh probably what I weighed in high school. I mean, they're light. They don't know yet how to use their bodies. And even though it's not as physical as the old Moses Malone days, or the old bad boy days, there still is an amount of physicality that you've got to learn to adjust, whether it's coming off a screen, stepping into a lane, doing all these different things. They don't yet know how to use their bodies. They're still puppies with the big feet and the little cumbersome bodies. But listen, a 7'2" is no joke, and 7'9" wingspan's no joke.
Right.
That's JJ Redick.
Exactly. So now Denver is probably going to match up with who? Utah in the first round?
Oklahoma City, maybe.
Oklahoma City in the first round?
Yeah, I think it's probably either going to be Oklahoma City, Utah, somewhere in there. I don't know. Think about this, guys.
Right now, it's the Utah Jazz.
Milwaukee's Milwaukee, Lakers, Clippers. Toronto's surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like every other year where, hey, you want that home field advantage, and be that 3 seed, number 6. It don't matter.
Right.
There is no home field advantage unless, the monitors all of a sudden start vibrating and walking around while the game's going on back there. But it really hurts teams like Utah and Denver, teams that count on altitude. Utah is like a college atmosphere. So is Oklahoma City. Playing in Oklahoma City is like playing in a college town. It's a tough place to play. And now you just got to win with pure talent. I think whoever wins this year is probably just the most talented and probably the best coach team.
Now, if you were in the bubble and still playing, would you get in trouble?
Well, not if I could be like C.J. McCollum and have 88 bottles of wine in my room. I'd probably be okay.
No need to leave.
Exactly. Yeah, you like that wine club? Has there ever been?
My problem was be sneaking Tony in every night.
You're damn right. No, that's the weirdest thing I've seen in the bubble life. Is all these guys with a wine club? J.J. Redick, C.J. McCollum, a couple other guys. Really? Do these guys know what wine was before they actually got down to Orlando?
Yeah, did anybody check the feet that were stomping them grapes or sanitary? Now, I don't know. Listen, I talked to a buddy of mine who's with one of the teams down there, and we went to college together, and he said it's like being in a luxurious prison. He says you really are restricted what you do, but, man, you have everything around that you need.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of the guys were crying, but I think
Rondo was complaining about the rooms.
You know what I noticed, and I'll give them credit because obviously they're used to the luxurious lifestyle, staying in the best hotels, getting all the stuff that comes with being a superstar athlete. The guys were yapping early, but then they all calmed down. I think they've been talked to. Some of those guys, remember, Damian Lillard didn't want to go, and now his team's got a chance to get in there and play for a championship if they put it all together.
Absolutely, and Listen, it's a few months. I think the country needed it. It's good for sports. The three of us are basketball fans, but if you watch the majority of the game, there's really been some entertaining games. I mean, there's been some fun games down there. Listen, it is what it is, and you're right. We are pampered athletes, all of us from all the sports.
Except you, though. No, you were more of you were a meat and potatoes guy. You weren't one of these club life guys. You didn't go. You ever go to Magic City when you played in Atlanta?
Yes, I did. One time.
Only for the wings, though, right?
One time, actually, when I was in Atlanta, and not to throw out names, but I believe one of my teammates that were with me on that trip is a head coach in this league, maybe in Los Angeles. And I can't talk on chicken wings, but they did have a hell of a hamburger.
So there you have it. Hamburgers and chicken wings
right.
The next time you go to Magic City there in Atlanta.
I think it was that Wagyu beef. Or
yeah,
whatever.
It was the Wagyu.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? I was escorted in by Tree Rollins.
Well, that's a good way to get escorted in. Tweed Rollins, he walks into any place in Atlanta back in the day from the Omni, right over. Did you walk over from the? Is it walking distance from the old Omni, Magic City?
No, not that I remember. We actually, I tell you what, we did take it. We seriously took a little road trip. It was back when you flew commercial, and they had a 6-hour delay at the airport. Tree said, "Come on, we're going to Magic City." So we all piled in the back of his Bronco or his Dodge Ram or whatever he had, and drove over there. I knew we might be in a little bit of trouble as he stopped at Walmart first to pick up flashlights.
Flashlights?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's old school, man. See, that's the way those guys thought back in the day now. They don't have to stop at Walmart anymore.
Those were the good old days.
You think LeBron's ever walked into a Walmart in the last 20 years of his life? Probably not, man. I don't blame him. He doesn't have to. Hey, I know you got to run, man. Good to talk to you again. And good luck with those Denver Nuggets. And make sure they got enough medicinal marijuana sent down there because I want those guys to be not low-key faded but ready to play, man.
Yeah, for pain and bumps and bruises.
Exactly right. It's medicinal, of course. The great Scott Hastings. Scott, great to see you, man.
Love you, Tony. See you, pal.
There he is, Scott Hastings, talking NBA bubble action, yo.